Welcome, bienvenidos. This is Roxana from Metamorphosis Fox. And wow, okay, I don't. That's really funny that it looks that light from the screen because it's not that light here. It's actually pretty dark. But for those of you who don't know, I have a TikTok account. It's the same name, Metamorphosis Rocks, and I do go live on occasion. And what ended up happening is I had never been able to go live, so I did it a couple times, and it was fun. It's been fun so far, but it's very different from here, and I'm not sure that I'm doing anything right. To be honest with you, I really don't know what I'm doing over there. So I started talking, and today I'm fairly tired, and I decided to go ahead and do the half hour that it asked you to do and whatever, and that was pretty much it. But then the last topic that I kind of sort of touched on, I really wanted to talk a little bit more about that particular situation, and I wanted to expand on it a little bit so that I don't offend as many people as possible. So here is the short version of the long story. There seems to be some couple, a pastor and his wife, and they were being interviewed by a third person, and they started talking about the the way in which their relationship developed. And a lot of people are saying that this was the work of witchcraft and not religion, because of course she's saying that God made her do this and God told her to do that, when the reality is that everything you hear is basically, it's really scary, to be honest with you, because I think we have, as women, we have confused when the Bible tells you to humble yourself with submission, which are not the same thing at all. And so I was listening to this woman. If you I'm looking down because I'm trying to see if I'm actually here here Oh, I guess I am. Never mind. So the thing about it is this woman is actually talking about how she basically did everything. She bent over backwards. She forgave all the cheating and all the lying and everything in between just to be with this man who, mind you, not much to look at. But there's so many things that happen based on that interaction and the comments that I saw, because it was one of those things where it reminded me of the old days. And just so you understand my where I'm coming from, I was born and raised in Puerto Rico, and if you know anything about any country in America on the Spanish side, we were colonized by the Spaniards, and they brought the Catholic religion because they actually brought priests on the boats to um, help with the people from, you know. And so I decided to do a little research, and I am looking at um, the numbers on a table that I found on Wikipedia, and I wanted to so I can make the point. I wanted to tell you what percentage of the population is Catholic in several Latino countries, and the first country that comes is Bolivia, and it says 63, 70, 73, 77. It's somewhere around 70% of the population is Catholic. The next country, I'm only speaking of Spanish speaking countries, by the way. Chile. Chile has every number here between 42 and 66, so let's put it at 50% population is Catholic. What I want to see is, what is this number? Oh, okay, yeah. I'm looking at the actual number of people, And when I look at the total population versus Catholic population, it is about 50% because, for example, in Chile, it says it has 18 million people, and somewhere between 8 and 9 million are Catholic, and 9 million would be half of that percent of that. Colombia, you have 48 million and somewhere between 34 and 37, which makes it closer to 73, 75%. Then you have Costa Rica, which has a population of 5 million and about 2 million, 3 to 3.5 million. So that would make about 60% of the population is Catholic. I'm trying to find Puerto Rico so I can make my case. But of course, it's not going to happen, apparently. Oh, here we go. Oh, we're not here. Interesting. Guess we're not considered a country. So, no, we're not here. Oh, wait. Territories. Puerto Rico. We have 3.6 million, the total population, and then the population of Catholics is somewhere between 2 million and 3.3 million. Now, that would make it somewhere between 56 and 85. The reality is that at one point in Puerto Rico, we were 85% Catholic. Then that number started dropping because people started converting from Catholic to Christian. And this is where I want to go, because one of the comments that I saw reflected the most in this whole story about this pastor was the fact that there's a pipeline from criminal to pastor, or from cheater to pastor, basically from bad behavior to pastor. And it reminded me of, which is why I brought out Puerto Rico and other countries. It reminded me of when I was younger, and we had a lot of people who were born and raised Catholic, and they would claim that they felt lost and confused, basically covering up the fact that they just behaved badly. And then all of a sudden they found Jesus and they moved to a Christian church. That happens a lot. That just that doesn't happen just in the United States. That happens a lot. And in Puerto Rico it used to happen a lot. And it was really funny because, supposedly in the Bible, Jesus said, "Don't judge. That's God's place, not yours." But I can remember distinctly people in the Catholic Church talking about X or Y person who was either a serial cheater or had embezzled millions from their company. And they had been born and raised Catholic, but they never felt the connection until the bad thing happened. And then they would go ahead and find Jesus. And the next thing you know, they're building a church, creating a church, or it's just so transparent in a way. So when I heard the story of this lady who claimed to have done all these things in order for her to get this man, I thought it was really funny because it reminded me of the other situation. But then I started looking at the comments, and people are talking about this woman has some witchcraft done on this man, and that's why this man came to her. Now, I'm not pretending to be a big person in the witchcraft world or anything like that, but I have heard about this, about hexes and about curses and about workings to make a man love you or to make a man hate you. And I don't really know why we as humans think that we can convince people, cajole people, threaten people into doing whatever we want them to do. Mostly in the whole thing about love. And it's not a thing that you should be trying to accomplish that way. But also, remember when I mentioned submission and humbling? The Bible talks a lot about humbling yourself. And ironically, one of the biggest passages that Christians use to tell women, yeah, you're supposed to humble yourself to your man, actually talks about both sides humbling themselves. But what some people in Christian religions call humbling is actually humiliating yourself for the other person. I'm sorry, if a man cheats on me repeatedly, I'm going to leave. I'm going to leave. I don't care if I have children with that man or not. I do not understand the idea of humbling yourself, humiliating yourself in order to get a man. Forgive him every sin, every bad behavior, because what you're basically saying is that it's okay for him to do whatever he wants, but not for you. And that establishes a very sad precedent. And with that, I'm going to leave you because I want to see what kind of comments I get from this. This was a short life. I just wanted to put some thoughts out there because I don't know if I'm going to make a full video about this story, but yeah, I just wanted to see what you thought. Thank you so much for watching and have a wonderful day.